The evidence of God in the universe. When we explore the wonders of creation, we will discover that embedded in everything is the amazing design of all that exist. We see an intelligent blueprint in everything, governed by the laws of nature and of the universe. Many of us are simple-minded, we can only understand what is obvious and we accept it as it is. For many of us, it is more difficult to believe in the concept of a created universe that existed out of the Big Bang. It is more acceptable to think that behind the genius of creation, there is a supernatural intelligent being that made it happen. In the world of mathematics, we discovered that almost everything in the world there lies beneath the genius of design which can be observed, even in the most random of things, like behavior of animals. There is a secret code that may predict their pattern of behavior. Amazingly, all of which that is observed in the created world can be expressed by numbers. Believing in the God who created everything like a magic trick is in itself amazing, but a universe which has immense wisdom, knowledge and logic behind its creation is much more supernatural. What adds more to the extent of God's power is that He created everything out from nothing, as the sacred scripture describes it. It has been said that our understanding of God depends on how deeply we comprehend His power and its implications. The nature of creation, like our own experience as we design things, is that we are the master and commander of our creation and we are outside and overseer of our invention. Likewise to God, although the universe is immensely big, is also outside of His invention. God is the missing link of what the scientists discovered as the Big Bang, and the evolution. He is, as the great theologians point out, as the prime mover, or in philosophy as the logos. Scientists that are mostly atheist insist that the birth of our universe is the Big Bang and everything is a result of evolution, which also implies that it doesn't need a creator. It failed to present a valuable ingredient in the theory, which is the ultimate question: what started the Big Bang? They justified that unless we go back in time and to see for ourselves what started the Big Bang, then we shall know what caused it. This statement is also equivalent to saying that we will never know the answer. Since we are perfectly different from each other, maybe the answer to questions pertaining to the creation is entirely dependent on our own understanding and preference. Like seeing an optical illusion, we see objects in our own perception and what we choose to see, but to the question as big as the beginning of all things needs serious answer. We find answers in the best of our capability, in science, in religion and in everywhere that leads us to the truth about this subject. The scientific community has concluded that the Big Bang is the birth of the universe and that everything exists because of evolution. We should also establish a solid foundation why believers believe in the God who created everything. Based on human history, we should present concrete evidence to support that God really exists and He is responsible for the creation. In all antiquity there is only one man which we can find the answer to our question that has changed the face of the earth with his life, teaching, death and his alleged resurrection. Throughout history, only one man openly declared himself as God in the flesh. Jesus Christ openly preached in public in his ministry that he is the Messiah, the Son of the Most High God. Such a claim like this needs to be tested and should be backed up with concrete proof, before we jump to the conclusion that he is indeed what he proclaims to be. We should sort out three logical possibilities: either he is a lunatic, a madman with ulterior motives, or he is what he says he is. Jesus Christ is the most popular being in the world and is studied by many scholars, doctors, theologians, and scientists for his works, miracles, death, and his alleged resurrection. Based on his teachings, works and his miracles, we can conclude that he is not a lunatic. His teachings indicates how sound he is and very aware of his identity. We can also conclude that he is not a madman with motives of deceiving his people because of his consistency to his teachings until death, as the scriptures unfold it in the Gospels. Jesus is a symbol of purity, love, compassion, and power in the history of mankind. In our present time, we have known Jesus Christ through the Scriptures, through Roman historians who wrote about him, and to the tradition of the Church passed down throughout generations. We know that the Scriptures are reliable through the science of textual criticism that what they wrote about Jesus is accurate. We also know from outstanding historians that the Scripture is a well-attested document in ancient writings by far. With this tremendous accounts about Jesus, the testimonies of hundreds of people about his miracles, teachings and his resurrection has a great impact in our search for God. The resurrection account of Jesus became the outburst of the Christian Church, which proclaimed that he is alive and is the Messiah. From desolation, fear and panic, the disciples of Jesus went to hiding and of suddenly proclaiming that he is alive within days after the crucifixion. They witnessed his resurrection and ate with him and spent time with him with long hours of conversation. Even the ones who persecuted the disciples of Jesus witnessed him and later preached that he resurrected from the dead. During the preaching of the disciples, no one questioned the reliability of Jesus' resurrection because all of them are witnesses of the event. Instead, they are feared by the authorities, the teachers of the law of Moses and the Romans, for two reasons: one is for the division it would cause during that time, and two, that they cannot debunk Jesus' resurrection. There are over 500 people who witness that he has risen from the dead in the span of months after his crucifixion. It is not also possible that he did not die in his crucifixion. In the advancement of medical study, the separation of blood and water from the side of Jesus pierced by one of the Roman soldiers is an evidence that he is dead. Jesus is the only person who fulfilled Old Testament prophecies in details which science cannot explain how it happened. It is not mathematically probable for one person to fulfill writings about him hundreds of years before he was born. In one occasion, he fulfilled 29 prophecies in one day, the day of his crucifixion. Many skeptics who are among the most factual researchers tried to debunk the divinity of Jesus, but have only failed. In doing so, they are now convinced that he is human and at the same time, divine. Most of them had a change of heart from disbelief to becoming a believer. To the great minds of our time, one way to disprove the existence of God is to disprove the divinity of Jesus Christ, because so far he is the greatest proof that God exists. Establishing the existence of God through historical facts about the identity of Jesus as that God made man is a spiritual victory answering the biggest question man has ever faced. The implication of having a fact-based proof of a historical God makes us conclude the very obvious truth, that God exists and he created the universe. As simple as it is written, it is a profound truth that God is revealed right before our eyes. How frightening it may be or as overwhelming it can be, we have to admit the fact that God exists in the personification of Jesus Christ. Scientists that have studied the beginning of the universe have succeeded in their quest for truth, which gives way to the discovery of the Big Bang and evolution. With this regard, we honor the great minds of our scientific community. But with regards to finding the truth of what caused the Big Bang and eventually the evolution, we give the honor and praise to God who revealed himself in the person of Jesus Christ.